I'm absolutely loving HAZBIN Hotel. Guys, as you know, I'm now watching the show right up to the point where the song starts, and then I do the analysis and go back to the show and come back. It's a great system. I'm really enjoying it. It's giving me the full kind of context for what's happening. I just did my first time reaction and analysis for Respectless and Whatever It Takes, HAZBIN Hotel. Season 1, Episode 3, Scrambled Eggs, I believe is the title. Really enjoyed it. So guys, I hope you enjoy as well. I hope you'll learn something about the music. That's really the goal here. And I'll see you after. So enjoy my first time reaction and analysis for these two songs.
What's the matter, fossil? Too senile to make a real power grab?
You better show some respect. Check your behavior. No one speaks to Zestial that way. Did you expect us to sit back and take your insolent brazen display?
I love the Spanish guitar happening underneath as well. We also have a kind of unusual rhythm happening. It's like da 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 with the Spanish guitar. I love this. Camilla just giving it to Velvet, who is being a punk ass, by the way. She very, very brazen, as Camilla just said. As you guys know, I'm actually watching the show now, so I'm watching the episode up to when the song starts, and then I leave my living room and I come in here and I record an analysis for the song, and then I go back and then come back again for the second one. It's a really good system. I finally figured it out for the last one, so hope you guys are enjoying that. But so yeah, I got the full context now. They're at this meeting with the arms dealer Camilla, and Zestial's there, and he and Alistair have just reconnected. It's great stuff, but musically very, very cool, very interesting, very unique so far.
Oh, what's the matter, fossil? Too senile to make a real power grab?
You better show some respect. Check your behavior. No one speaks to Zestial that way.
So we're in A minor. A minor, so not getting up super high yet, but power vocals. I mean, you know, usually when you start a song, the vocals are a little more pulled back, a little more intimate, and then it builds to like a climax. Carmella's just coming out of the gate like full power right in Velvet's face.
Your behavior, no one speaks to Zestial that way. Did you expect us?
So this is only up to a tenor high A, so this is not getting up in the super high bell range by any means. Camilla sounds like her voice is naturally rather low, so this for her voice or for her voice type could be stretching up pretty high. I'm sure she still has some room above this, but typically you wouldn't consider an A4 or a tenor high A high for a trained female vocalist.
Check your behavior. No one speaks to Zestial that way.
Agreed.
Did you expect us to sit back and take your insolent brazen display?
G sharp, really nice vibrato though coming in, allowing that full vibrato way on that high note there before it looks like Velvet's about to take over. Yeah, talking shit to Zestial seems like a pretty bad idea from the few minutes that we've spent with him so far in this show. Probably not to be trifled with. So Velvet, check yourself.
Did you expect us to sit back and take your insolent brazen display?
You've got it twisted. I'm not the one who needs a new attitude. Maybe you missed it, but I'm that hashtag bitch, and I will do nothing less than what I please. Woo! I'm the backbone of the vase. Mad that I acted respectless. Well, it's cause no one could respect this.
She sucks. She absolutely sucks. I do like how it kind of has, they've turned it into kind of like a trashy trap pop song when she comes in, which really I think is perfect from the character and the vibe she's putting off, and that she works for like the really new tech company. So the music sounds much newer, much more modern age than when Carmela was singing with the kind of older school Spanish guitar happening. Yeah, what an attitude. What an attitude on Velvet.
You've got it twisted. I'm not the one who needs a new.
The beats almost like don't really line up. It sounds like kind of disjunct and jagged, and so I'm wondering. I would love to hear why they chose to do that. Like, it doesn't really line up with how the words are lining. Usually, if you're gonna have a beat that's not just like consistent and going forward, you're gonna line it up with other elements of the song so that it really hits hard, or hits consistently rather. But this one, it just sounds kind of like disjunct. But I mean, the composers for this, Andrew and Sam, are brilliant. So I'm sure there's always a method to the madness and a method to the chaos.
You've got it twisted.
Like that first ba 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 is like, just sounds completely off from the rhythms of what the vocal is doing.
Display.
You've got it twisted. I'm not
See
the
what I
one
mean?
who needs a new attitude. Maybe you missed it, but I'm that hashtag bitch, and I will do nothing less than what I please. Woo! I'm the backbone of the vase. Mad that I acted respectless. Well, it's 'cause no one could respect this.
One thing about Velvet, though, the voice is absolutely so pure and so efficient. There's like no extra air. There's no breathiness. She is brazen in character, and the voice really cuts well because it's such a pure, efficient tone, which is just interesting. And I think that is a great representation of her character. Kind of like loud, in your face. The voice cuts really well, so it's going to be loud, whether it's in person or in a studio setting. That's a great choice.
Mad that I acted respectless. Well, it's 'cause no one could respect this. Story group attending. Since when are overlords too scared to fight? You're long past trending. Sorry, babe, but I ain't swiping right. You lost your relevance.
We can't act without more intelligence.
No wonder I'm so respectless. I could eat you lot for breakfast.
Gosh, I just don't think that's true. I don't think if she squares up with Zestiel, it's going to go well for her, or with Alistair. I don't know how powerful Carmilla is. I know she controls power in hell, but like as a fighter, no idea. But Zestiel, Alistair, I just don't think she has any hope. Not swiping right. All these modern references that most of the people in the room are probably like, what is this chick even talking about?
You scared to fight? You're long past trending. Sorry, babe, but I ain't swiping right.
Like swiping right? What's that? What is that supposed to mean?
You're long past trending. Sorry, babe, but I ain't swiping right. You lost your relevance.
We can't act without more intelligence.
No wonder I'm so respectless. I could eat you lot for breakfast.
Notice just the difference in vocal timbre and vocal color from Velvet to Zestiel. Of course, they're very different voice types. Zestiel, we can tell, he speaks way down here. He's got that really low, gravelly, bassy voice. Great voice acting voice for a character like that. And we have this brazen, much younger, much more kind of energetic character. But just when they start singing, so you're going to expect them to have different sounding voices, but just notice the difference and how that plays into their character. So we have Velvet, who's very forward, very bright, tons of vocal fold closure. She's up in that kind of yelling, talking range. And then we have Zestiel that comes in, who's actually singing pretty much higher than where he speaks. So he's had to pull his voice up, but it's still a very soft, breathy, more like kind of intimate sound. Like, he doesn't seem like the kind of person that feels compelled to raise his voice, as opposed to Velvet, who's just gonna yell at everyone in the room.
Swiping right, you lost your relevance.
We can't act without more intelligence.
We can't act without more intelligence. So there's all this breath and softness to the sound for his character.
Swiping right, you lost your relevance.
We can't act without more intelligence.
No wonder I'm so respectless. I could eat you lot for breakfast.
You wannabes are inane and uninformed. Smug wannabes who don't heed when you've been
Nice little pre-chorus or bridge section from Camilla, getting up higher this time. Up to that tenor high B, and she's still handling that beautifully. So I do think she naturally has a lower lying voice. Sorry, I had to move a chord here. I do think she has a naturally lower lying voice, but can clearly still get up into that, you know, upper belt range there, up into that high B. Really solid.
I could eat you lot for breakfast. You wannabes are inane and uninformed. Smug wannabes who don't heed when you've been warned.
Oops, did I strike a nerve? Cause when I brought out the angel's head, couldn't help but observe that your wrinkled face was turning red. And when
She's such a brat. Oh my god. Such a brat.
oops, did I strike a nerve? Cause when I brought out the angel's head, couldn't help but observe that your wrinkled face was turning red. And why are you avoiding war?
I love all the ear candy happening in the percussion. There's like, we have the very clear drum hits, but listen to all the extra kind of like clicks, pops, hits happening in the percussion that just add. It's the kind of thing where you probably wouldn't notice it unless you're looking for it or, you know, paying attention to it like I am now, listening with headphones and everything. But it adds something to the song, and were it to be removed, you might feel like something's missing or like the song isn't progressing. It's called ear candy. It's usually a bunch of extra percussive sounds put amidst the drum kit or the big main drum samples. Should just add a little extra spice, a little extra interest, and it really goes a long way. Listen to this.
Oops, did I strike a nerve?
So they're not there now.
I brought out the angel's head, couldn't help but observe that your wrinkled face was turning red. And why
Huge difference. So you can tell, like, when those big drums first come in, it's pretty sparse, feels like it's kind of empty, and then all the ear candy comes in and it fills out the kind of gaps.
oops, did I strike a nerve? Cause when I brought out the angel's head, couldn't help but observe that your wrinkled face was turning red. And why are you avoiding war? That's what the guns you sell are for. Thanks to my being respectless, one thing I'm starting to suspect is, you know why this angel's headless? Do you have a disclosure?
This meeting's over.
Ooh. And Camilla getting up to a gorgeous high C sharp there. One more thing to flag. I love how there's this one line. I think this is a repeating thing. And you hear it in other things too. I just did an analysis for The Wizard and I from Wicked, and there was like one line by Elphaba that was just spoken, and everything else in the whole song was sung with melody, with clear pitch. But there's like one line that's taken out and just spoken. And the same thing happens here with Velvet too. Let me flag it.
Avoiding war, that's what the guns you sell.
Might be before this.
I brought out the angel's head, couldn't help but observe that your wrinkled face was turning red.
No, not yet.
Why are you avoiding war?
And why are you avoiding war? And then right back into the melody. But just that one line, and why are you, is truly spoken, truly no clear pitch, no clear melody, but then it goes right back into the melody.
That your wrinkled face was turning red. And why are you avoiding war? That's what the guns you sell are for. Thanks to my being respectless, one thing I'm starting to suspect is...
Also, this beat and everything, it is lining up better. It started lining up better after that first bit. When Velvet first came in, it felt really kind of disjunct. The lyrical rhythms versus the percussive rhythms and all of it just wasn't really landing. But now it still sounds a little disjunct, but it's everything's kind of lining up much better now.
Thanks to my being respectless, one thing I'm starting to suspect is, you know why this angel's headless?
Uh-oh.
Do you have a disclosure?
This meeting's over.
That was a productive meeting.
That was a productive meeting. Lovely. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed. This is my first time seeing Respectless, and I'm about to hop back downstairs to the living room, watch another 10 minutes of the episode, and come back for the next analysis. And I'll figure out later if I'm going to put it in this video or in another video. So we'll see. But either way, guys, thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next HAZBIN Hotel video. Hey there. Do you want to see my next HAZBIN Hotel reaction before anybody else? Patreon gets early access to every episode in this series. And you know what? Next week's episode is already available. So come join the Patreon and raise a little hell with us. We'll see you there.
What weighs on your soul, old friend? I implore you to share the load. If it was thou who slew the angel, why not let your strength be known?
What a cool voice on Zestial here. He's got this smoky quality to his voice where there's a lot of extra air coming through the voice. Kind of a smoky, I think smoky's the best way to describe it. But he also, typically when you hear a smoky voice, you don't expect it to be agile. And he does some nice little riffing in there. And then you also get some nice vibrato. And as he gets into the upper range, the voice actually gets more efficient and it gets more into like that kind of belt quality where the tone is much more pure. So it becomes less smoky. So clearly at a natural point, he has a smoky voice, but has learned obviously through vocal training, is a wonderful voice, to create a more efficient sound and to create different vocal colors with it, which is what every, advanced singer should be able to do, is create vocal colors and different dynamics and stuff like that. So really a beautiful voice.
What weighs on your soul, old friend? I implore you to share the load.
Share the load, share the load. Also, so we're up to a B3, just below middle C. If the voice actor for this character is also singing, that's remarkable because the voice actor's voice is super, super low and gravelly. And so to hear it sounding really nice, like lovely and pure and soft in his upper range is really, that shows a lot of range.
And I implore you to share the load.
Like, that's just beautiful.
If it was thou who slew the angel, why not let your strength be known?
He got up to a D, actually. Again, this is remarkable for a voice actor with a voice this low. And then sustained that C there at the end. And you could tell our voice actor here was putting a little more power into that final note, really finishing that phrase on a more powerful note, on a high note.
Your strength be known.
I always thought that I would keep blood off my face, but when that thing attacked, I had to act to cross that line and keep them safe.
It's really interesting, like the biggest arms dealer in hell, but doesn't really deal with it, right? It's almost like Tony Stark Industries, right? He creates all these weapons of mass destruction and then doesn't have the change of heart until he basically becomes a victim of his own weapons. That's interesting. Like you make these things, but you don't really see how they affect people directly. You just make a lot of money from it, essentially. And so we come back to Camilla, and she's obviously keeping it her voice very low and again soft and intimate to start, which is completely opposite of how she started the last piece going against Velvet, where she came out of the gate swinging. This piece is much more introspective and thoughtful so far.
I always thought
Very breathy.
that I would keep blood off my face, but when
Off my face. My brain was totally expecting her to say hands, because blood on your hands. That's like the phrase you think of. And then she said face, and it's like, what?
keep blood off my face,
It's like,
but
that's different.
when that thing attacked, I had to act to cross that line and keep them safe. But if anyone knew, then all of hell would rise to war.
Okay, that was a long bit because there was really no good place to cut her off there. I'm gonna start back at the top of that. I know what started my thoughts going, but I just had to bite my tongue.
When that thing attacked
A little further up.
line and keep them safe.
It's right here, I think.
But if anyone knew, then all
This is it. I love how you can feel the anger coming into her voice, even though it's not getting like louder yet necessarily or bigger. The first few words there have this really major quiet intensity about them. And if you were just listening, if you weren't watching, you could feel the anger starting to really come into the voice, or feel the emotions heightening in a really awesome way. That's just good stuff. It's subtle, but it's powerful.
cross that line and keep them safe. But if anyone knew, then all of hell would rise.
Feel getting tighter.
And who's to say would survive the fray? I might lose the ones that I was killing for. So
It's definitely a lower voiced singer, female singer, because these high B's, she's singing them very well. Very pure tone. They're totally in control. It's awesome. There's an intensity about it too because of the character and the moment that she's in right now. But you can tell that's getting pretty high for her. That's really stretching that chest voice up there pretty high. So just confirming what I was thinking earlier about her being probably a naturally lower lying female singer. Very well trained. It's great. It's a great voice. Just sits a little lower than you might expect.
I'll be your keeper.
Like the level of effort you can tell that requires for her to stay in that high B is typically what you might hear on like a high D for a trained musical theater singer. So it's just something to notice, and noticing the nuance and intensity and effort in a voice takes a while. So if you're like, I don't really know, just sounds good, don't worry about it. That's probably most people watching, but I'm here to be a big nerd. So thanks for sticking with me.
Was killing for, so I'll be your keeper. Do whatever it takes. I'll make the mistakes. I'll keep you safe and keep this secret. When I saw your face,
Oh, and Vaggie.
you made me feel like a stranger in a brand new place, and it felt so good to be understood. But there's so much I wish that I could say.
It's really lovely. She sang a few lines in Happy Day in Hell, and her voice sounded totally different. This is a much sweeter, again, more intimate, introspective side, similar to what we're getting from Camilla. Really, really sweet. And Vaggie also has a naturally lower lying female voice, at least judging from her speaking voice, which is pretty directly correlative to your chest voice in singing. However, it does not really correlate to your head voice. So you might run into a very high soprano in opera that primarily sings in head voice that has a very low natural speaking register in chest voice, because the registers function differently. There was a singer in my master's program who this was the case. She's a very high soprano but had a low speaking voice, which is just an interesting thing. But anyway, both characters here, both our soloist Vaggie and Camilla, taking a much more intimate, softer approach to their singing. Although we did get some really nice high belting from Camilla in that chorus, it still is a more of like an introspective thing. It's a more thoughtful sound, even if the external is like a big belt. It's still like an internal feeling. And then Vaggie very much so, and she's singing very softly so far.
Keep this secret. When I saw your face, you made me feel like a stranger in a brand
This is like,
new place, and it felt so good.
what is this like? I'm feeling like 90s, 2000s alternative rock ballad for Vaggy's part especially. Yeah, that's it.
Brand new place, and it felt so good to be understood. But there's so much I wish that I could say. So
What's that flip from chest voice? Obviously mine's already flipped, but notice that flip from Vaggy's chest voice up to her head voice for that high note. That's only up to that B that Camilla was belting. So I think my hallucination is that Vaggy is also a lower lying female voice, judging both from speaking voice and now singing voice.
there's so much I wish that I could say. So I'll be your
Now, unless maybe this is the case for some of the characters, are any of the singing parts done by people that are not the voice actors? I would think they're all the same, but I mean that is occasionally done. You'll have voice actors that do a part, and then you'll have a singer. Like maybe not all voice actors can sing. You know, now I know a lot of these are specifically chosen to be great singers because it's, you know, part musical, right? It's a musical show. But for many voice actors, they don't sing. So you can guys let me know if there's anything like that happening in the show. That'd be interesting to hear. Because Vaggy's singing voice so far does sound pretty radically different from her speaking voice.
I'll be your armor. Do whatever it takes. I'll make the mistakes. I'll spend my life being your partner. And
Listen to, so that's a perfect transition actually into Camilla coming back, because listen, Vaggy just sang that high C, that C5 to B4 belt, and in such a soft way, and then Camilla comes in and there's so much more weight and power in the voice, just clear, like singing the same exact pitches with completely different vocal color and dynamic and power. So it just shows the voice types are radically different. You can even have a very similar range as someone with a very different voice type. Range really only determines voice type in a choral setting, because in choral music, it's really all about, it's being able to sight read really well. It's being able to blend really well with other voices. So you might have this wonderful big solo voice that doesn't blend well, and you might not be a good fit for a choir. And then you have vocal range. And so it's where can you sight read, where can you sing comfortably, but it has very little to do with your vocal color or how loud you can sing, how dramatic your voice is. It has very much more to do with how well your voice can blend and the range of your voice. So it's a much more simple classification system in choir as opposed to opera that has like 30, 40 plus very specific different voice types, ranging from, you know, the bass voice types, of which there are like 6, all the way up to soprano, of which there are probably 10. Anyway, I could go down a rabbit hole about voice type, but I'll leave that there.
I'll make the mistakes. I'll spend my life being your partner. And I don't know what we might face, but I know I can't replace you. So I'll do anything to save you. And I will try to make your dreams come true. Whatever we go through, I know
Vaggy just takes the upper harmony. It's amazing actually how different their voices are singing the same pitch. Vaggy's voice is so soft up there. It sounds like she's just operating in a head voice, which is a much lighter mechanism. It doesn't even sound like she's carrying her chest voice all the way up there. It's just so light. It's so light compared to the weight and power we're getting from Camilla. Radically different sounds. It's really awesome.
try to make your dreams come true. Whatever we go through,
She's got to be in head voice. Yeah, there's just I think Vaggy's operating at head voice because there's no she's up to a high E above tenor, high C. That's a high note to be belting, even as a very highly trained female vocalist. And it will have that yell quality. If you think about some of like the big high notes from Wicked, for example, they're up around that high E. Like I think the really high note in Defying Gravity is like a half step higher than that. And it's big and it's yelly, and there's no way to sing that in chest voice lightly. The only way to sing it lightly is to be in your head voice. So I think that's what's going on here. And because we're in a studio setting, studio recordings, volume's not an issue because you can change all those parameters after the recording, after the vocalists have recorded. If this were, for example, an unamplified live performance, aka an acoustic performance, Vaggy's voice would probably be getting completely drowned out by Camilla because of the different way that they're approaching these high notes. Big nerdy stuff, guys. Let's go.
Whatever it takes, I'll make the mistakes. Whatever it takes.
Nice. All right, guys. That was it. So I might end up putting these two in one video, be a little over half an hour. But I hope you guys enjoyed. As you guys know, I'm going through HAZBIN Hotel and I'm watching the episodes up to when the song starts. And then I do the analysis, go back to the episode. I think it's a great system. It gives me all the context for the show. It shows you guys that I know what I'm talking about. I didn't do that for the first couple of videos, but I'm doing it now, and it's been a good system, and I'm enjoying it. So I hope you guys are enjoying. Hope you're gaining. You're probably not learning anything new about the show, but maybe you're learning some new things about music, which is the whole goal here, and gaining appreciation for the music in this show. If you are, consider joining my Patreon, and also definitely subscribe to the channel for more HAZBIN stuff. Only takes a couple seconds and it's free, so go ahead and do that. And I'll see you guys back here for the next HAZBIN Hotel video. Peace.